After multiple Golden State Warriors players spoke out about the Warriors' previous season yesterday during their press conference, I wanted to break down what a Warriors' perfect offseason plan could look like for the Bay Area team to help them rebuild, regrow, and to potentially start a new dynasty for this decade. That's what we're talking about here on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. So before we hop into any of that, I want to hear from you guys. What is a top priority for the Warriors to make this offseason? I have a feeling there is going to be numerous cuts, trades, and a lot of salary shedding. So I want you guys to go ahead and type what you think Mike Dunleavy, Steve Kerr, and the Warriors front office should do before we head into the 2024-25 NBA regular season. I'm going to break down my 5 top things I think the Warriors should go on ahead and address. Number 1, re-sign Klay Thompson. We talked about this in yesterday's video, so I won't go into that much detail, but I do want to bring up what Klay said yesterday during his closing interview for the 2023-24 season, and Klay is just tired of talking about it, man. What's up with y'all? Not wanting to live in the present. Ridiculous. Well, considering it's April 17th and I don't have to pivot that quickly, when's free agency? July 1st, I got some time. As we know, Klay Thompson is now a free agent. He can explore multiple other NBA teams, or he can come back to the Golden State Warriors if they do offer him another contract. Kendra Andrews did tweet out that Thompson says his biggest priority moving forward is just to keep winning. So obviously retirement's not on his mind right now. He wants to keep winning. He's done that with the Warriors over the last 10 years. And he also went on to say, when you've been a part of winning seasons, you don't want to get away from that. I don't blame him. It hurt my heart seeing the Warriors lose to the Kings because this is not the Warriors that I grew up watching. Not to mention, the Warriors I grew up watching was the Big Three. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. What they have done in the last couple of years, 4 championships, multiple All-Star appearances. Steph Curry had nothing but love to say about his 2 teammates who have now become family, saying, I could never see myself not with those 2 guys. I can't see him without Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. I don't even want to imagine what the Warriors would look like without Klay, but I do understand that Father Time has this really fickle thing where it catches up with us and makes us not be able to perform the way that we used to. So it's going to be up to Dunleavy, Steve Kerr, and I really do think that with how influential Steph Curry is with the Bay Area, he would hopefully have a say in what amount they could offer Klay Thompson and what amount Klay Thompson would like to receive. So with that being said, go ahead and comment down below. What should the Warriors do with Klay Thompson? Type R for resign, type N for no resign, no contract, just let him go into free agency and thank him for what he's done. Next on their list, if I'm Mike Dunleavy, is figuring out Chris Paul's contract details. As you guys know, he was traded to the Warriors, didn't have the most pivotal season for the Warriors this year, but Chris Paul does have a non-guaranteed $30 million coming up for this next season. The number one question in my mind right now surrounding Chris Paul is he worth $30 million? I'm going to go no, because when you look at the stats that he provided here for the Warriors, he hit career lows in 3-point percentages, field goal percentages, average under 10 points per game. Obviously, his 3-point attempts weren't clearly that up there because when you've got somebody like Steph Curry, you don't need to take as many 3-point shots. But Chris Paul also said that, look, I know I'm also getting up there with Father Time, but he said, I'll talk with my wife and my kids, my family, my support system, see what it looks like, but this isn't the end of my career. I know it for sure. Chris Paul has now played 19 seasons without winning a championship ring. He has played for numerous organizations, most recently coming from the Phoenix Suns, where he has learned how to beat the Golden State Warriors. Now, he did lose the Golden State Warriors against the Kings. This is the first year in many years he's not going to be making the NBA playoffs. Nonetheless, I just don't think Chris Paul is worth $30 million at this point in his career. I don't. This was the first time in his career that he came off the bench. He wasn't even a starter for the Warriors. And if he is in the top 3 of your salaries, it's just too much to be paying a player that's not going to get you past the first round of the NBA play-in. I say you waive him and you get somebody with that added salary shedding. So my question here to you guys next is, should the Warriors pay Chris Paul? I want you guys to go ahead and comment why you would pay Chris Paul and why you would not pay Chris Paul moving forward, as he does have a non-guaranteed $30 million next year. Speaking of money, talking about players, well, that brings me to Prize Picks, our sponsor here on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. If you're looking for a really, really fun way to test your skills and go on ahead and see if you can pick more or less on a player's projected stats and see if you can get them right, Prize Picks is how you do that. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can combine NHL, MLB, NBA. You can put LeBron James, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jude Bellingham all in the same category. They do not care how you pick. Just go on ahead and make your picks. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS for a promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, because testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports with quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy. Number 3 on my checklist for the Warriors in their perfect offseason plan is to possibly trade Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins. In my mind, I'm thinking if you're not going to re-sign Klay Thompson, you can trade Draymond Green because the big three's done. You can start to rebrand, rebuild, and we all know they're only going to rebuild around one player, and that's Steph Curry. Combined, Wiggins and Draymond Green will make upwards of $162 million over the next 3 seasons. That's a lot of money for a player that was very absent this year and last year. And I do understand it was for personal reasons, so I understand there are some internal things going on. But when it comes to Draymond Green getting ejected, Wiggins taking his sabbaticals, it really makes me wonder, were these contracts worth the performance they're getting from these players? There's no secret that Green is the vital piece in the Warriors defense when it comes to aggression, when it comes to having a big body in the paint. No, he's not a true big, but I'm worried about the sabbaticals. I'm worried about the aggression, ejections, the suspensions, and I'm worried about another possible I tried to retire. Draymond Green did have something to say here. Zach Lowe had something to say here on Draymond Green, saying they have a decision to make on Green, whose volatility has worn on several within the organization. Sources did tell him. But everyone within the team understands how good Green is. So we know Draymond Green has some pros that outweigh the cons, but Zach Lowe went on to say about Andrew Wiggins on the Warriors, saying rival teams would likely ask the Warriors to include an additional asset in any potential trade offer for Wiggins, since he is still owed $90 million over the next 3 seasons. So this was just something I cooked up off the whim. I just wanted to see what it would take, what kind of star power the Warriors could get if they were to combine somebody like Wiggins and Draymond in one trade altogether. Well, it could get just somebody like Trae Young and Saddiq Bey. The Hawks have already spoken about how they want to kind of trade away Trae Young. He and DeJounte Murray aren't flowing, and I think Trae Young, an all-star shooter, next to another all-star shooter, could be very good for the Warriors. You'd have to include maybe 2 first-round picks if you can't give up any more players, especially you do not want to give up somebody like Moody or Kaminga. So this is the trade that I cooked up just off the bat. So if you guys like this trade, go ahead and type A for accept, type D for decline. You're more than welcome to drop a trade in the comment section down below. I promise this is why we have Warriors Today. I talk, you talk, and then we talk about it. The 4th thing on my list here, I honestly should have put this at number 5, but Gary Payton has a player option coming up here in this next season. It's actually worth $9 million. He will be making more money than he was this previous season. However, when it comes to Gary Payton II, I love him. He's so fierce. He's so scrappy. He's a great defender. And I love his offensive skill set as well. It really complements the Warriors' offensive structure. But he played 44 games out of 83 this year, and this is not the first time this has happened. GP2 just can't seem to stay healthy, and it's really tough because he didn't play against the Kings. Even if they beat the Kings, he wouldn't be ready for the game 2 against the Pelicans. So you need somebody, you want to pay somebody that's going to be able to withstand the very tenacious asking prices of the NBA. And Gary Payton said, look, I would love to come back and run it back. Better yet, just redo my whole deal and stay here for a little bit longer. We'll figure it out, though. Gary Payton, of course, was traded away, then got re-signed back to the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, they love him. I love him. He's a fan favorite, but I don't think this is the top priority for this summer in the offseason. I would really start to look at this maybe perhaps in the month of July, towards the end of the offseason, to really consider where Gary Payton lies, because when you're looking at Gary Payton's $9 million, it doesn't sound like that much when you've got a Jonathan Kuminga contract extension on the horizon. This is another thing the Dunleavy is going to have to think about in a perfect offseason Warriors plan. If you want to make this perfect, you give Jonathan Kuminga a contract extension immediately. As Anthony Slater came out during this press conference with all the Golden State Warriors players yesterday and said, Jonathan Kuminga is extension eligible this summer. Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. On his future, I love it here. This is a guy that just wants to play ball. He's not worried about how much money he's making. He's not worried about that right now. Yes, he's worried about his playtime. He's worried about his role on the Warriors, which we saw his frustration with Steve Kerr earlier this year. Wiggins wants to play. Pay the man for what he has done. He's the only reason they kept you in that ball game with the Sacramento Kings. Zach Lowe of ESPN said the Warriors are very high on Kaminga. This we know. They tried to make multiple trades by the NBA trade deadline, and Dunleavy declined multiple offers because everybody wanted Jonathan Kuminga. He knows what he has. He doesn't want to give him away. Plus, Minnesota's Jaden McDaniels just recently signed a contract extension of 5 years, $136 million. Pay Jonathan Kuminga more. I think he's worth this, especially being 21, 22 years old, I believe. He has so much ahead of him. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and he could be the face of your franchise when Steph Curry decides to hang it up and number 30 goes in the rafters. However, this may not happen until closer to October. I could see this deal really bubbling up once they figure out if they're going to pay Klay, pay Chris Paul, and possibly pay another player that comes in from a trade. So my last question here to you guys, I promise I'm not going to keep you all Thursday night, is what would you offer Jonathan Kuminga in a contract extension? Make a deal, and let's see what you guys come up with. Go on ahead and drop it down below. And while you guys are at it, be sure to hit that sub button on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. We're going to be giving you everything you need to know about the Warriors offseason. We'll do all the work. All you guys have to do is hit that sub button.